Welcome to Behind the Bowl. My name is Brian, Director of E-commerce here at Almost Pride, and I am joined by Candace D'Agnolo. And Candace, welcome. Thank you so much, seriously, for coming on. It's a pleasure to have you. And I kind of want to, like I mentioned to you before, treat this as we're meeting in the lobby at a show. We're in the elevator. Give me a quick little background and who you are, what you do, and then what Pet Boss Nation is all about. You can kind of take the floor from here.
Sure. Well, Brian, I'm excited to be here and I love talking all things pet business. So I think we're going to have a good time together.
Love it.
My background is that I've been in the pet industry since the age of 24 and now I'm 45. So I've been here a long time and I've worn a lot of hats. I owned my own brick and mortar businesses in Chicago. Everything from pet boutique, doggy daycare, boarding, dog walking businesses. I made dog treats at one point and eventually had 3 locations, and I went through all the growing pains of that. But through the process, learned how to overcome those challenges and grow successful companies to the point where I was able to successfully exit 3 separate times from my brick and mortar businesses with major financial gains, which doesn't typically happen in brick and mortar mom and pop type shops.
Yeah.
So I started looking at what it was that I was doing differently, and at about year 5 or 7 of my business, I realized there was a lot about business I didn't know, and I invested a lot in my professional development and found I was more passionate about business education than I was about talking about why your dog has diarrhea, or fitting the right harness on your dog. I
Sure.
just found I was more passionate about helping small business owners. So when I thought about what was next for me in my career, I was like, I really want to start a coaching company, helping the brick and mortar businesses, helping that local pet business.
Mhm.
And so Pet Boss Nation was born about 7 years ago, actually. And we are I like to say like a professional development company for the local pet business owner. And what I mean by that is it's pet sitters, dog groomers, dog daycare owners, pet boutiques, and we help them with sales and marketing and leadership. And we do it through like courses and live Zoom rooms and co-working sessions and lots of different vehicles to build this community of small business owners who oftentimes feel very like isolated,
Sure.
and they now feel like they can do this business thing, right? Because it's like so hard.
That's
You're
congr-
oftentimes wondering, like, why did I quit that job and try to start something on my own? Because this is difficult. But
Well, first of all, congratulations. That's a great story. And I
thanks.
I, I grew up outside of Chicago in Naperville.
Oh yeah,
So
then you're not too far away.
yeah. So I
My
lived
businesses
in
were in Wrigleyville. Yeah,
okay.
Wrigleyville and Lakeview.
Yeah. So yeah, so I was out there. I was in Bolingbrook for a little while, Aurora for a little bit, and then Naperville, and then now I'm out on the East Coast in Connecticut. But I love the
Cool.
area. I miss it a lot. Um,
Yeah, it was a cool
It's
place.
no, it's a really, really cool story. And seriously, props to you for doing that because it's brutal. It's brutal out there. No one really kind of understands what goes into your day to day, right? I mean, it's just they
No,
see
they don't. And I
it,
think a lot of people think that they like that then when they don't have other people to bounce ideas off of or hear how it's going for them,
mm,
they feel like they're failing
yes,
at their business because it's so hard. And they're just like, well, why do these other people that I'm seeing on social media or in my town, why do they seem to have figured it out? Well, what I'm here to tell you is that most people haven't figured it out.
yeah, none of us. No, we're still every day. It's an everyday
we're
process.
all we're all we're just at a different stage in the game
That's
than
it.
maybe you are, or a different place. And it's just we're all just in this like mode of trying to figure it out and find a balance between work and life and money
Sure.
and no money, and like, it's a constant juggle, right?
Yeah, no, I hear you. So retail. So I'll give you a
Yeah.
quick little pitch. So we're fourth generation, family owned and operated. Started in the 1950s on our family property. We were a poultry farm and grew into a local grocer distribution company. So we sold mainly turkey product to different grocers in Connecticut and throughout New England. And then that transition leading up to the 90s when the second generation owner, so the daughter of Oma, so Oma's grandmother in German, her daughter, Sandy, had a very sick dog, Harley. And Harley was shown all the ailments, had a bunch of allergies, wasn't doing really well. And Sandy looked out on the family farm and the property day after day and used to see wolves eating animal carcasses. So she's like, these wolves look happy. They look healthy. I've seen them out there for years. Something's going on here with this whole animal thing, right? So she's like, all right, I'm gonna start giving Harley, who was her sick dog at the time, turkey necks, chicken necks. Formulated a couple like old school family recipes with like turkey
Mm,
grind. And next thing you know, after a couple weeks, her dog was chasing fly balls and like a puppy again.
wow.
So that's when in the 90s, she's like, okay, well, I think we're onto something here. This is really before anyone was feeding
Oh
raw.
yeah, way ahead of her time.
Way ahead of her time. She was a trailblazer.
Yeah.
And then she started making these recipes, packing it in like those old coolers that you used to see on like 70s and 80s TV shows, and bringing them to different shows and events. And then that's how Oma's was born. Oma's Pride was born. And we were local for a long time. We've only been on e-commerce for probably 9 years. And it's been very localized, like really, really good stuff. We have over 120 SKUs between, your signature mixes, which is just our protein mixes with vegetables without any AFCO complete like supplementation in it. And then we also have the same exact recipe with supplements added into it to be AFCO complete. We have a bunch of like single ingredient treats, toppers, chews, raw meaty bones, recreational bones, exotic proteins like kangaroo and wild boar, some different supplements. So the line's expanded from the 90s. We've come from throwing a bunch of like random things in a cooler to, being, I think we're in now over 1,200 retail stores, 1,100 retail stores. And then we have obviously our e-commerce channel as well. But that is the biggest struggle, right? So I was hired last year to, hey, we have a great product, we have a great story, we sort of know what we're doing, but we need it to be amplified, right? And I think that is very relatable to brick and mortar retail stores where we know we're a great store, we know we have great employees, we think we have great products that are being offered inside of it, but how do we amplify our message to let people know we're here, to let people know about us if they never heard about us, and all this stuff. And that was like my big face when I came here was, hey, Brian, take this and just amplify and get Omas out there. But I think that is, at least the more and more people I've talked to, especially the stores that we distribute to, is, hey, Brian, they'll call me. That crazy video you just posted on social media, like it got a lot of views and stuff. Like, what are you doing on social? Like, so the social elements, like a big part of it, right? Amplifying the message, email, like simple things like email and SMS. So the things that translate for me in e-commerce translate directly, right, to a degree to retail stores. And that, to me, I'm sure, that's why I want to ask you about this, is that a big struggle for a lot of retail store owners, is like, I want people to find me. I want people to know who I am. Right.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, it's constant. It's just like, how do I find more customers? Or the constant problem is I've got cash flow problems. And it's like, okay, well, I think the real answer is I just don't have enough revenue coming in to pay my bills. It's
Yeah.
really the problem, so people do have to like find you, and that's going to happen through marketing. And yeah, we're in an interesting time in the pet industry with your localized businesses, because people have started these decades ago and have been running them for the last 20-30 years and had success, and they're now ready to either retire or move on, or their market share has been taken online, or the challenges of the consumer and their shopping habits now compared to what they maybe started with.
Sure.
And a lot of them have adapted. I mean, if you've survived in brick and mortar local businesses that long, you're doing something right
Yeah.
usually. But like there was a period where, and we're still in this, and I saw you just posted this on LinkedIn too. I don't know now, once this is live, how old that post will be, but you said something that like, what, stop acting like email's extinct or something. It's like this dinosaur thing. And it's not true. You're right. It's not true. I had a talk once that was like, email's not dead. It's like, or I think I even a subject line, my best opened email subject lines was, am I dead, with a question mark, or like, did I die or something, or I'm dead. And it was like an 80% open rate. It was crazy. Right. And then I was like, well, clearly I'm not, because you just opened this email and I got your attention, or something. It was great.
That's
but
awesome.
but it's true that like email is still an important part of marketing. But the problem, to go back to what I feel like has happened, right, is that there are a lot, and I've said this before, no disrespect to our pet industry, but we are late adapters to technology and
Yeah.
software, and so even social media, and there are people who are still like, is Instagram worth it? Or like, should I have an online store? Like, there are still people who question that.
Sure.
and they are going, they're already probably struggling, and it's going to continue to only get worse.
Hmm.
And so they do have to adapt to technology. However, you have all these people that are coming into the industry now who are younger, Gen Z, millennials, that are coming in and that like were born with this stuff and have figured it all out and can reach wider audiences much faster sometimes than some of the older businesses. And so this is an interesting place because I think overall, most business owners, at least now, understand that they need to collect their customers' information, that they need to do something with it, that they should pay for a monthly service that's a technology-based software service. I know that some of the people hate doing that because like one more fee that they have, but it's really, these are tools in your marketing tool chest that you can use to go do what, make more money, right?
Yeah.
You can use them, just set the schedule, click the button, get the links going, and go, it's your ATM, but you got to get it
Yes.
going.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
I think it's just, in the pet industry, we're also passionate about pets,
Hmm.
and that's why we get into it. And that's why your company was founded, but they knew that to amplify their message, they needed to hire a marketing person to come in and focus on this stuff, right? So all of us in our businesses have to go, I either need to upskill myself because I need to learn to do it myself because I don't have the money to pay somebody,
Hmm.
or I'm going to have to invest in paying someone to help me do this to
Yeah.
get the message out there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. And the brick and mortar retail side of the pet industry like really fascinates me because I've talked about this before a little bit, but it's really the only like brick and mortar industry that I can see not only staying around, but like flourishing to a degree because it's a different sort of transaction and a different sort of communication with the customer versus
Yeah.
your cell phone store, your accessory store,
Oh
clothing
yeah.
store. All those are closing down. People are buying online, but the difference between pet is now, especially over these past 5 to 7 years, people are starting to invest more in their pet. They're starting to realize, all right, well, maybe I need to actually start treating my pet like a human being a little bit
Right.
and
Right. Right.
giving
Right.
it the food and services that it deserves. But then being able to bring your pet into a store, talk to other people that are bringing their pets into a store, talking to the store owner, who's arguably the most up to date,
Yes.
qualified
Yeah.
person to
Absolutely.
share information with, right? That's
Hmm.
why so we partner with Packer Mellum. So Packer Mellum is
Yay, we love Pecker Mellum. They're
love
actually in
Packer
our
Mellum.
membership. Yeah.
No, oh, awesome. That's
Yeah.
great. We love
Yeah.
Rob's a great guy. Liz
Well,
is
I was gonna
awesome.
ask. Okay, I'm gonna put you on the spot on your own podcast.
Yeah. Talk to me. Talk to me.
So, okay, so I agree with you 100% that, these local pet businesses are the ones who can embrace and bring in community and events, and they connect with their customers, will survive and thrive. And really, the internet cannot do that, right? The
Hmm.
internet cannot create those experiences, and people will
Yeah.
long for that even more and more as
Yes.
we get digitized and everywhere. Okay. And pets bring people together, and dog people, especially, usually are social people, right? So they want to
Yes.
meet other people. So
Yes.
that's great. And they educate people. However, and when you said though that you were sold in some stores, that's great. Because my question for you was, do you wholesale? And then though, I go to your website and there's nothing on your website about where to get it from the retailers.
Yeah. So the
So I'm
only
curious because my audience will go, Candace, like, is he only direct to consumer, or do they sell through retail channels? Because in the brick and mortar space, that's a really hot topic, are
really,
brands that go direct to
really hot.
consumer, which I understand. Everybody's got to make money. You have your channels, you got to make money. But I love though that you do also have wholesale through Pecker Mellum. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So because of who you've brought onto your show, I want to hear you answer that question
Yes.
from me.
Yeah, that was a tough it was a tough like balancing act because that started they started getting a retail probably like 16 to 18 months ago. So their
Okay.
first and PFX really brought Almost Pride
Yeah, we
into
love PFX.
PFX is great too, right?
Yeah,
So they're the ones that sort of got us into retail
great.
stores, and then we started a relationship with Packer Mellum just a few months ago. So it's a somewhat new relationship that has been working really well, but it was a balancing act of this. Almost Pride was literally just a website for so long. We want to be able to get into retail stores. And a few things that we've done, obviously, one of them, we're switching over our like website platform. So we're on
Okay,
big commerce right now. We're moving to Shopify.
cool.
And so right now, the only thing we really have on it is like a store locator. So you can type in like under contact, it'll say like where to
Okay,
find us.
there it is. Okay,
And then under where to find us, you can just plug in your address and it'll show you like different stores we're in your area.
cool. Oh, good.
Um, and then our social team. So we have Nina does a fantastic job. She goes, I would say once or twice a month, roughly, and she'll get a list of stores from either we have our own internal sales team out there, a couple people on the West Coast, a couple people on the East Coast, and hey, Nina, I want you to hit these 10 stores, and she'll
Cool.
go and we do like retail spotlight videos on our social channels. So twice a week we'll post 2 different stores every week of who carries our product, but it's more so of like a way for the store to get like a free 60 to 90-second video that they can
Yeah,
use
that's
for
great.
promo in their store. So we do that stuff on social. And then with the changeover to our new website platform, we're going to have a whole how to apply to be how to apply through us. And here's our whole process. So that
Yeah.
is because right now you're right. When you go on our
It's a little
website,
baried. I see it now.
it's
I see it
buried.
now.
Yeah.
I'm on your site. I see it, but
Um,
it's buried. So
it's
I just,
buried.
yeah, I love it. I love that you shared all of that
Yeah, absolutely.
because and that you know the value of supporting your local retailers because all of them are like more sales reps or your sales
Yes.
rep on the
Yes.
floor, and they help decide because raw is so booming right now. I mean, like I have so many clients who are just adding more freezers and more freezer space, and they just like almost need to move locations because they don't have enough freezer space or room for freezers. And raw is such a big category for them and growing, but they are the ones on the floor who are like,
Mm,
why this brand over this brand?
correct.
Like they have to, they're that spokesperson. So any kind of support they can get from their brands is critical to them and really can help, helps you stand above the other people when you give more support to these
100%.
retailers. So
Could not
that's
agree more.
fantastic.
Yeah. And that's something that like we're still, like I said, that's somewhat new for us. We just started getting
Yeah.
in there a year and
Well,
a half
yeah.
ago.
Yeah. I didn't
But
realize that. Okay.
then we also, which is a pretty cool thing, is we have like retail specific products that you can't buy online.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
so like with PFX specifically, all of our bricks that we sell online are in bulk, right? So our 5-pound bricks of our like we call them like signature mixes, which is just the meat, organs, bones, and vegetables. That is sold in bigger bricks online because people are just buying in bulk.
Mm-hmm.
But the retail stores, our PFX channel, we have portion patties that are in a seal away, press and seal away bag that are only available through PFX.
Mm-hmm.
So we have that, and then we have some other products that we're developing a treat line for because what I've noticed for retail stores, especially for treats, it has to be under $20 to move any needle, and then it has to be either 2 to 3 ounces, right? A lot of stores aren't moving 8-ounce product, 16-ounce product. It needs to be. We have to give them 50 to 60% margins on like the single ingredient to treat stuff to really make a difference, and then it has to be
Mm-hmm.
affordable for the consumer to keep going in there because our 16-ounce bags that we sell online don't move at all in retail, right? Our bricks that we
Yeah.
sell online, our
Yeah.
5-pound,
Yeah.
4-pound bricks don't move. So that's when we started developing like retail specific products that are only available in retail. So we'll get customers that maybe buy like 16-ounce bags of lamb lung or like 10-pound boxes of marrow bones from us online, but they want the portion patties. So they go to their local retailer for the portion patties. And then all the treat stuff that we're formulating in the smaller sizes with the price points and margins for the retail stores, all of that stuff will be retail exclusive as well. So that's like one project that I'm like really like pumped to work on because it's we have 125 SKUs total on ecom. If you were to include all of our retail stuff, it's probably 140. And that eventually is going to go to like 160,
Oh,
170
wow.
with, 20% of our products only available in retail. So that's another like cool piece that I like to like talk about because it's
Yeah.
like, it's really fun to work on.
Cool. Well, it sounds like you've got, some great partnerships with those distributors. They're some of the more popular ones. So
Yeah, they're good.
that's good.
It's a good time. And I think so I'll go, I would say like once a quarter or twice a quarter, I'll go out and we'll do like weekend tours and weekend trips into the stores. And I'm definitely starting to see it's definitely a younger owner pop than
Yeah.
it was, right? A lot like we went to a store in the Bronx and outside of it, they had like a weekend event. So they had a food truck outside. And then they also had like a pet portrait artist. So people were just showing up to get their dog, and there was like the caricature,
Uh-huh.
so they like had a whole event around it. And one of our guys in our sales rep team, old school guy, has been around. He's like in his 60s. He goes, 20 years ago, you would have never seen this truck outside with this portrait guy out here. This guy's singing in a boombox, right? And he goes, this is it's really cool to see, because they're I feel like in pet, especially like you mentioned, we're always behind a little bit in regards to like
Hmm.
keeping up with the times. But it's cool to see like the younger population start to
Yeah.
infiltrate a little bit, not just with the stores, but like with really cool products. Like there's
Yeah.
really
No,
cool
they're,
innovations out
yeah.
there.
Yeah, it is
Um,
really cool.
what's like the number one, if you had to guess, like the number one reason why people reach out to you? Is it strictly a revenue thing? Is it strictly, hey, I don't know how to manage this? Is it strictly, I don't know how to get out there? Like what do you see as like the um common factor in regards to like why people initially reach out to you?
So it's interesting because we have a wide range of types of business owners at different stages and sizes of their business, and they come for different reasons. And so even in our company, we've thought about this a lot of like, what is that business owner journey? And we came up even on with our own little pet boss journey path that kind of goes from that lone wolf stage to then the pup who's playful and learning new skills all the way up to the agility star where they've mastered some skills and they're winning like awards locally and they're really well known, but they're still working a lot in their business,
Yep.
to then like the top dog who can like basically run the business runs without them and they can explore other opportunities. So we've outlined that kind of path. We teach on that path and we have solutions for everybody along that path. But I'd say, when they find us, we do meet people who are either going to be opening soon or are just starting. And if they find us that way, it's usually because they've done their own searches, or they've already started to talk to some distributors or sales reps who are recommending us, or
Sure.
they might know some other people in the pet industry who are recommending, or they go to a trade show and they see us or something. So they come in early, and at that point, though, they're very overwhelmed. Like there's so much information that they're absorbing because it's usually a new industry for them. Like they're coming from the insurance world, but they love their dog and their town doesn't have one of these
Yeah.
stores. So why don't they open one?
Yep.
And
Yep.
so they're doing that. And they're putting all their money, like so much of their own personal money is going into this. And so they have a lot that they're juggling at once. And so for those of them who are really ready to go, hey, I can pay somebody to tell me how to get there faster and make less, mistakes than doing it on my own, which I might feel like I can't afford right now. But then if you have the mindset of like, but I know I almost can't not afford to do this because
Sure.
personally, and that's my own plug, is like, we are way better together. I
Yep.
have made every mistake and seen the mistakes happen. And now I figured out how to not make those mistakes and how to show you like, to be more successful. So that is a big chunk that we do meet. However, I feel like our bread and butter of like who comes and really who sees the most success are people who are in year, let's say 3 to even 7, even 10, sometimes year 10 of their business, where they've gotten open, they're running their business, they now have hired people, and they realize that they don't have the knowledge necessarily to manage and to want to even recruit, hire, train, coach,
Sure.
manage, or even handle terminations. And so they might be their turnover might be really high and they're not quite sure why that's happening, or even cash flow. Like I said earlier, cash flow is a huge issue. And so it's really understanding, do they know how to price their products? Do they know how to run promotions to get people in? Do they know how to reinvest that money in other ways? Do they know how to, run promotions, like the sales and turn the inventory and all that stuff? There's so much that goes into it.
Mhm.
So I feel like when they find us, they're the ones who are kind of like, customers seem to love us, right? They're like, we've got all these Google reviews, like people really love us, but why is there no money in my bank account? It's
Yeah.
kind of like, why
Yeah.
can I not get out of debt with these vendors? Or why can't I finally pay myself? Or why can't I take a vacation? Like they're starting to wonder like why, or they see their peers, right? Like I write for Pets Plus magazine,
Mhm.
and so and the Pets Plus is fantastic. They feature a lot of retailers around the country, and they see their peers having success, or sometimes even perceived success, right? We already talked about that,
Yep.
but they're seeing other people and then they're like, why don't I have that? Right.
Yeah.
So then they're going to feel that pain of like, what's wrong? And
Mhm.
then they finally either are ready to say, I need help. They come to us and then we're like, okay, I can really quickly usually like be able to dissect a situation and say, this is where you should focus first.
Yeah.
And then we have a million other resources for them. But that's our core client. And then when they take action, it's amazing what can happen for them. Really, it's truly transformational of like hundreds of thousands more dollars coming in that year to like, we have a client, it's a doggy daycare, Central Bark, and they're at one of the locations in Ohio. And she said, she just put a post up that was like, I've been lurking quietly in the background, doing everything Candace says over the last year, and our business grew 25%, which was a $200,000 increase for them. And they just won 5 awards at their franchise convention. And it was like they swept all the awards. And I was like,
that is
that's
awesome.
amazing. And they sent a picture of them with all their awards. I was like, that is the best testimonial I have that's why I've talked about it in all my talks at Global. I'm talking about it now because it was like,
It's incredible.
this stuff works. I mean, this stuff works, but I can't do the work for them though.
Yeah.
Right. They have to do it. They have to do it. So, but there's that stage is a really fun stage. The other stage, when they're more advanced, that agility starts to like the top dog, we have actually had a lot of them come into our membership too. And we're talking, these guys do 3 million to 7 million out of single locations, and they're joining our membership. And a lot of people will go, why? Like they've been doing this 15, 20 years. But they either need to just get excited again about their business. Like they've been through so much. And now they're like, okay, I've been watching this lady for a while. I've seen her clients, what she's doing. Like, I kind of feel like it would just be nice to be part of a community. They look like they're having fun, maybe I'll get excited again about my business. And what's really wild again for them is that they come in either by themselves or with the managers, and they start sparking like new revenue stream ideas, because they have more cash to play with, right?
Sure.
So they can go explore adding the food truck, the doggy food truck, or adding, subscription boxes, or opening multiple locations. And so, but they found that passion again because they invested in themselves. Really.
That's awesome. And that's got to feel good for you too. Like I know, I mean, I'm the same way where my job, actually, I feel like when you feel a sense of fulfillment, you're just better at your job, right? Like there's
100%.
I've worked for people and I've done things that I just didn't like, just because I felt like I have to stick with it. I have to get a paycheck, et cetera, et cetera. But when you find a place, or you're finding a position that you're in where you're actually fulfilled, I mean, I talk to people all the time though. Do you even love what you do? Because if you don't love what you do, I can't help you. Right. Or I can't work with you. You really, truly have to love it. And that's got to feel good. Like I know you had your successful businesses that you started and everything like that, but helping other people and seeing them turn things around, like there's no other feeling like that, especially when we see a product with dogs and stuff like that. It's truly an incredible feeling,
Right. It's exactly, why it's the impact that you're making. That's why I wanted to, and why I'm glad, like, so you guys were also doing, like you said, you hadn't been in distribution or to the stores until more recently, but you saw it was an unfilled channel for you to go explore. And that's also where, when I first started my coaching business, I exhibited at Super Zoo, and I had my little 10 by 10 booth, and I was just selling like one-on-one consulting, and the amount of need that I saw, I could never handle one-on-one. And I was like, okay, I went back home and I was like, how can I rethink this coaching model and create a subscription-based business in a sense that is scalable? Not so much, I mean, yes, it's a great business model financially, but it's more about impact. And like, how many more people can we not only support through our programs, but inspire through everything we do, which is why, we have the podcast. I have a podcast too. It's called the Boss Your Business Podcast, Pet Boss Podcast. And
awesome.
That's why I'm so glad you started this. These podcasts are so fun because they are really the fastest way to build the know, like, and trust.
Yeah.
I don't remember who said it. But somebody said something that like, video or email or even social media, like that, and even your customers, maybe that come into your store, like they're just clients, they know who you are, they're followers, but podcast listeners like feel like your family. Like they feel like they're your best friend because they get to like, it's like wild.
My wife listens to the murder podcast, which is it's weird, right? Like
a lot of people do though. I don't, I haven't, but it is. It's really funny when people are like the diehard murder podcast people. You're like, I see you. I know.
But same thing with her. Like she's like religious with these people. We have three kids. We have a 4-year-old, 2-year-old, and a newborn. Okay. House it's like one flew over the cuckoo's nest Monday through Sunday. Okay. It's an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
Kids are down for bed. You think you'd want to relax, right? So like, I get myself ready. I come downstairs to have dinner, and all, you hear like the man took the machete out of his pocket. And I'm like, what are you listening to, babe? Like, oh, it's my podcast, but she's like super into it, and like
Yeah.
knows the readers and
Yeah.
the hosts, where they live, their kids' names. Like,
Oh my
uh,
gosh. Yeah.
it's
But
so
it's true. Yeah, it is true that you get connected more to the podcast. And so we're like, okay, how can we extend this reach, right? Which is what you were talking about earlier. Like, how do you raise awareness about what it is that you do? And it's always, it's what we do helps people. Same with, your food, a better diet for the dogs, they live longer. And there's a lot of other benefits to all the things that we do. And even the people listening, right? Like there are people on the other end that need to buy your stuff mainly because it impacts their life. It's going to
yeah.
change their life. And you have to tell those stories and find those people. And so, yeah, so we've got through reach, we decided, okay, I can't just exhibit at trade shows. I was like, we have the free Facebook group for people to join. We have the podcast, a bi-monthly or bi-weekly blog, our email newsletters,
That's awesome.
and we do like fun experiences. Actually, we have an event coming up. Can I plug my event that's coming up?
Duh.
Okay. So Camp Pet Boss is returning. We had our very first Camp Pet Boss in 2019 in Lake Delton, Wisconsin, and then the pandemic happened, but it's coming back this summer, August 27th through the 30th. It is basically a conference where you get to bring your dog, and it's kind of like camping. We stay in dorm-like lodges, and there's a lake and bonfires, and there's leadership sessions and even zip lining. Like it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's all.
So
That's all. Is that in Chicago?
no, well, it's in Lake Delton, Wisconsin. So it's just
Oh,
outside of the
Wisconsin,
Dells.
Wisconsin. Okay.
Yeah. So that's coming up.
Wow.
So tickets, but probably by the time this airs, like tickets will be open to the public. Right now are just our clients are have them. But if you want to learn more, you can go to camppetboss.com and
That's
it'll all be
awesome.
there.
That's really
Yeah,
cool.
if it
I
hasn't already
like
sold
that.
out, because there's only
I,
so many rooms.
I like that. And I like how, I mean, obviously you know what you're doing, but approaching business more multi-channeled, right? Or not even just business, but everything that you want to do in life
Yeah.
as a multi-channel process, where we're starting to see stores too. A couple of our friends that we're friends with own stores locally where, years ago it was just, hey, this is a pet store. All right, well, now let's get a doggy daycare. Now let's do
Yeah.
grooming.
You have to
Now let's get
diversify all the places. Yeah.
a dog wash center in there. And
Yeah.
then we had a call with a company, a store down the street that wanted to, hey, like, I know I can't, can I do subscriptions? Like, how does this all work? And
Yeah.
work them. Now they have a membership where it's like $10 a month and you get 5% off every purchase. You get free,
Cool.
you get free curbside pickup. You get like promotional stuff. So now they signed up like 200 people through this $10 a month,
Cool.
membership.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, they're like, wow, this is really cool. So
Yeah.
that's how I approach like media in general, or,
Yeah.
LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, podcasts, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I love it. I love it. And I'm so now we have 2 minutes. So this is just a forewarning.
Yes.
When I plugged in, I kind of botched this a little bit. When I
It's
plugged
okay.
in the meeting time
Yeah.
for all these that were
I was turning it
scheduled.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to go off in like 3 minutes.
That's
So
no problem.
I just wanted to give that forewarning before you're like, this guy just,
We
he's an e-commerce guy, and he canceled me.
We can wrap it up if we need
No,
to.
no.
It's fine.
No, I think I think we'll leave it with this. I think if I am watching this video and I'm either interested in purchasing and running a local independent pet store, I'm currently running one and it's not doing really well, or I really want to grow it. If you were to leave those folks with just one thing that they can do to make an immediate impact in regards to bringing in more, because at the end of the day, it's just all about money, right? Results equals revenue. That's like what I have on above my computer. But what would that one thing be for someone to just see an immediate return?
I like to say,
Besides visiting petbossnation.com.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Even easier. It's petboss.com. I mean,
Petboss,
the
okay.
company is named Nation because it's a name, it is a company, but I realized everyone was calling it Pet Boss. So I spent an ungodly amount of money on petboss.com. I won't even tell you how much. So but, but it's all about branding.
Yes.
But yes, I think my best advice actually is, I like to say to go for like your lowest hanging fruit, which I know sounds crazy, or even fastest path to cash, because so many times people think that they like the subscription idea. They're like, oh, this idea is going to totally save my cash flow. But really they don't realize how much money has to go into that to get it launched or to drive traffic, when really maybe they just need to look at who hasn't done business with them in the last like 60 to 90 days that did previously. And hopefully their data can tell them that. And
Yes.
then they can go follow up with those people and just try to get some more business from the people who already bought from them once. Like
Yes.
there are faster ways to find money than overcomplicating it and overthinking. Like everyone makes things too complex.
I
So that's
agree.
my advice is fastest path to cash is already inside your business
Yes.
somewhere or in a
So
relationship you already have.
so
Okay.
true. So true. That's great. That's really great advice. You got to keep hammering those people because like
Yeah.
you see all the time. You have some people take 10, 12, 15 pathways in order to find you and ultimately come in and purchase. So you have to
Right.
keep in front of them.
That's right.
But no, hey, listen, Candace, it was a pleasure meeting you.
Nice to
I'm
meet you
sure,
too.
I'm sure we'll be talking soon. Thanks for coming on.
I
And
hope so. This has been a lot of fun.
absolutely. We'll do it again soon. And for those of you that are listening, petboss.com, because
Yes.
remember, Candace spent a lot of money on petboss.com. Do not go to petbossnation.com. Petboss.com, you can find Candace and everything that she and her company have to offer. Thank you so much, Candace. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Take care.